Hello, everybody. Welcome to Know Your Money. I'm Bronwyn Wayner.
And I'm Craig Finch, and we are from Growth Financial Planning. We hope you enjoy our podcast. Hello, team. Good to see you all. Today we're talking about 4 concepts that we use in our practice to help us with planning for our clients, either investments or risk. So, Bron, do you want to just introduce it?
Yes, sure. And what we mean by this is as the client, you need to question these 4 different areas all the time and try and do your due diligence. So the first area is the provider. So who is the provider that us as the planner is using? So is it Allen Gray, or is it some company that doesn't actually have an FSP number? Or in terms of medical aid, is it a medical aid company that's been in the news?
What's an FSP number?
Okay, so it's
It's registered with the Financial Services Board.
What's
so FSP stands for Financial Services Provider.
Why is that important?
Good question. So why that's important is because they are regulated to meet certain requirements and they have to act in certain ways. So they can't just, what was that that thing the other day? It was called BHI.
Yeah, so there are pyramid scams.
Yes.
That come up, and Ponzi schemes that come up. It looks so good, and if something like that comes up and they haven't got an FSP number, they're not regulated by the regulators, then you do not deal with them.
Right. So if they
those
don't
people
have
get
that,
caught
it's
losing
a
the money.
red flag.
Yeah, so if
100%.
your planner is coming to you with something like that, it is a bit of
It's
a red flag. Do your due diligence and just check that. And then also on top of that, your planner. What qualifications do they have? Have you actually seen it? Have they just started? They don't even have their RE exams.
Is there a way to validate verify your planner?
Yes. Yeah.
We all registered with the Financial Services, FSCA. We're all registered there.
Okay.
And you can go in on the website and
Right,
look.
okay.
So you go to the FSCA and then you type in the person's number or name and you'll
check
actually
you guys
see.
out to make sure.
Yes, you should.
Yeah, and
You absolutely
you're
should.
legit.
It's like if you're buying a new phone, you go and check what the camera is, how much memory is on there, what the space is like. Do the same for the
That makes
provider
sense,
you
yeah.
use.
So you trust your planner, that's number one. Secondly, then they bring, we will never bring a provider that we haven't vetted and it's not well known. No new provider will be ever, trusting our clients' money and keeping it safe is the most important thing for us. So we'll never bring a new platform with 100% promises of this and that and the next thing, and we'll never do that. So that's important.
Yeah.
So the provider would be an Allen Gray, a 91, a Discovery, a Liberty, one of those kind of scenarios. That's what we'll always present to our clients.
Okay, so once you've got that provider locked in, what's the next step?
So then the next step in terms of planning from our side, and then also for you as a client to bring up with your planner, is often, and I remember, at Discovery, or maybe I shouldn't say at Discovery, but when I was working just for a tied agent, often we had to meet our minimums, and if you did a unit trust investment, you didn't really get as many points or whatever the wording was. But if you sold a client an endowment, you'd get more commission and more points to your goal. So often an endowment is sold to clients for the advisor to gain.
Benefits, yeah.
And an endowment isn't for everybody. An endowment is a 5-year term investment and it's taxed around 30%. So if your tax rate is lower than 30%, you would have been better off in a unit trust.
That makes no sense then, yeah.
It does and it doesn't. So why you would use an endowment if your tax rate was below 30 is you can nominate a beneficiary on an endowment and it doesn't form part of your estate. So sometimes when there's planning and you need to leave money to a specific person or the person's getting sick, you might want to move it into an endowment, but it's not always the first thing. So the second point is a wrapper, understanding what a tax-free savings account is, what is a retirement annuity. You can only access your money from the age of 55. Some clients don't know that. Yes, the two-pot system has changed now, and a third of that you can cash out, but understanding the wrapper that you are being put into, I think is important.
But that's where we guide our clients, because the wrapper is, if you do that smartly, you're going to save a lot of tax, and you're going to save a lot of, and you can pass your assets over to the next generation in a smart way.
Yes. Yeah.
So the wrapper is very important to not just saying, I've got this money, I'm going to leave it in the bank. That might be a good wrapper for a certain reason, but it's probably going to be a bad wrapper for a long term. I'm just giving you an example of a lot of people feel comforted by cash, and it is part of planning, and it is a wrapper we will suggest, but in certain cases. So, not to go into too much detail, the wrapper is another very important aspect to it.
And just to that point, the cash in the bank, if your estate gets wound up, is locked until your estate is wound up. And like we've said on many of the episodes, that's about 2 years. So you've got to make use of, and unit trusts work the same.
Yeah. I've always had this thing in my head of I want to be able to access my money immediately. So I think that's maybe why some people feel comfort with cash.
Yeah.
It's, if I need it, it's there.
But again, that's where our 7 relationships with money, we've got to get clients comfortable with all of that, because there is a portion that you must be able to access straight away.
Yeah.
That's the keeping
100%
one.
one of the.
But there has to be the savings and the growing one. So there's got to be a balance in all of them.
No, I was just saying, I think that's why some people do.
Absolutely.
They feel
comforted.
well, if I put my money here and I
Yeah.
have to give notice and I can't get out, or I can only get it when I'm 55, they're like, it's kind of scary for some people. For me, it's kind of scary.
For a lot of people, and that's where the money habits and the EQ around money is so important for a planner to...
And there's smart ways of presenting wrappers that will suit all applications.
Yeah.
Okay, the wrapper, the next.
That's number 2. So then the third one, which to me is the most important one, is, like I was saying, is that every rand needs to have a plan. Often people come and say, I have 100,000 rand, can you put it away for, I'm only going to need it in 5 years' time. Okay, we've got to unpack that. Are you really, really only going to need that in 5 years' time? Because if you tell me that, I'm going to base that time horizon on how I invest that money for you. So often people get their bonus and they say, okay, just put it all away. I don't need it. And 3 months' time, they come and they want to withdraw from there. And because I've now put it into something very aggressive, that 100,000 rand might only be worth 90, and now you're drawing on it. It's really, really bad.
By aggressive, you mean the volatility that can occur?
Yes.
Yeah.
So being mindful and understanding what your time horizon is for every rand is really important. So taking that 100,000 and say, okay, can I have 20,000 in case of an emergency, 50 for this, and then knowing the time horizon is really important.
Okay. Yeah,
Makes
that makes
sense?
sense. Yeah, 100%.
And then the last one, which basically ties into that time horizon, is once we now know, okay, this is money I'm going to need in a year, this is money I'm going to need in 5, that's when we can plan your asset allocation to a T. And by asset allocation, I mean how much is in equity, how much is in cash. So your money you're going to need in a year will be in a very cautious kind of money market or your bank accounts. Then the other stuff, it all tapers depending on that.
And our practice has models which Fund House have built for us over the last 11 years. And we've got models that will suit that application.
Yes.
And they do the asset allocation, and if we need to make slight changes on it because of world events or fund managers doing certain things, we can do that within the model. But the time horizon is critical to know, is it for retirement or for education or for short term?
Or you want to buy a car.
Car, exactly, all those things. And then we allocate the money accordingly to that. And then the wrapper that it might be hosted in would be another factor of that. So it's very important.
And the provider that it's with. So that's why those 4 things are...
Yeah.
So ultimately as well, it's very important that you're very specific with your financial advisor as to what you want your money to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because just saying, I've got money, I want to save it.
Yes.
Just put it away, and then they ask you the next day for it, and then you've locked it up for retirement.
We can't do that,
Yeah.
No, but that's what we do.
Okay, interesting.
Awesome. So that's the 4 of them. It's the provider, the wrapper, the time horizon, and the asset allocation.
Brilliant.
Yeah, great, Warren.
Some stuff. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Brian.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this podcast, would like to subscribe, please visit our website www.growthfp.co.za. The information we have provided in this podcast is our personal opinion. For more detailed information, please discuss your financial situation with a financial planner.